Hello, it's Agoy Penguin Gaming, aka Addison. Working on my Liege again for another edition of Under Construction, this web series where I take a task that I need to do on my video game and we make kind of a pseudo stream where you get to sit and work with me, and I'll hopefully have something interesting to say about the topic at hand. Today I'm going to work on my Meeples. It's been a while since they've gotten some attention. Specifically, I've redone a couple things with them already. We have reworked the items and how I am adding the items to the Meeples. And so today we are going to kind of update some of the... It's like halfway there. There's some framework that I want to have there so that it's clearer what, that the Meeples have something in their right hand, their left hand, on their head, on their body. Right now, it's all kind of just on the Meeple model, and I want it to be grouped better. And the main reason for this is so that I can update the animations so that I can move items in like their left hand separate from their right hand, separate from their body, without knowing if the items are there or not. I have these nice anchor points. So we're going to work on that. Hopefully get done, finishing the framework that I started, and I'll show you what that means. Updating some of the item models to go with that, and then update a few of the animations so that it all comes together. And at the end of the day, or end of this video at least, will I have anything new? Not really. I'll actually be back to kind of where I left off, or where the Meeple was before I made these changes, but it opens the door to so much more creativity, because I'm starting to churn out new 3D models for the items they're holding and more variety. So I need to have it. It's just this system needs to work better so that I don't constantly beat my head against the wall or hold myself back as I'm fleshing out the variety of Meeple models that we'll have. So first couple of things, I'm still not including music in the videos. You can listen to your own background music. What am I listening to if you want to jam with me? The SimCity 3000 and SimCity 4 soundtracks. There's a playlist I found on Spotify that's got them. Real good stuff. Excellent working music. And two, of course, a cat update. And for the cat update, let's get this a little bit bigger. I actually don't need to move the camera much for Jelly Bean. He's sleeping on top of his cabinet spot. And then we'll hopefully gracefully be able to move the camera up high enough to see there's a cat. No, cannot be rused. Too deep in sleep. So that's you're kind of stuck with just me, I guess. Well, shrink me down into the corner for a proper working session. I think I'm going to want to be in the right-hand corner. Yeah, because left-hand side is where I'm going to have my animation stuff later on in the video. Okay, so what is the framework that I've been setting up? So, basically what I did... So, originally, I had this bad system... Not bad. It probably would have worked fine, but it didn't scale well. My prototyping model had... On the Meeple, I had these two parent objects, accessory and accessory body. And this was basically handheld things and things that are on the body, like the cape, for instance. And so all it was is it had a bunch of game objects on it. And I can even show you what that looked like here. It's really, really quick. Like I had the mace he was holding. I had the hammer he was holding. I had the message he was holding. But all of that was inactive all the time. And in code, I would just, oh, you're a messenger? Okay, activate the message object, which worked, but like I said, not very expandable, not very growable, because I was gonna have to tie all these, and then every Meeple was technically have all these inactive game objects, and I didn't know if that would hurt performance in the background or anything like that. So just a poor way of going about it. So let's remove these. So what we're doing instead is I made a scriptable. I'm even saying it right. Scriptable object of Meeple item object, and I'll pull up that code. But while that's pulling up, all it is actually forgot can't interact with Unity while it's pulling it up. So get a little sip of water. Little product placement. Shout out to my buddies. I actually don't know if this was Mitch or Andrews, but shout out to Andrew for gifting me this water bottle, which I don't even think he remembered giving to me during moving day, when he was just like, I want fewer things. So that's if you want a nice water bottle of your own, help your buddies move. Let's see. Let's find the right file now. Okay, so basically it's just a real simple little object here. Inherit scriptable objects so we can create them in our assets folders. And I just track a couple of things on it. The category of item we're talking about, that'll come in handy later when I make the character editor, where you get to pick what items each, the named Meeples are holding. The display name for the editor as well. Item model, this is an actual game object. This is where I'm gonna, this way I can tie in the 3D model that actually represents this item. The anchor point, which is gonna be big for today's work. Anchor point is which spot on the Meeple should be the parent transform of the item. And we'll see how that relates. And then a checkbox for whether or not the item has the capability to color code itself based on your house. Because my idea is, I want, if a Meeple is tied to a house for loyalty reasons, or they work there, or it's their steward or something, I want to color code them a little bit. That way, at a glance, you can get more information about who they are. So I'm picturing like the seal on the message envelope, or maybe the hilt of a sword, color of a cape, things like that. And so if the item supports that, have a little flag here so I know I can call some code on it. Haven't figured out how I'm going to handle that quite yet, but that's the idea here. Just set that up so that I know for later. And so then I turned all my existing items, let's close up some folders here, into these. And I'm realizing, I know, I could zoom in Unity more, but I really hated how it made the game look like garbage. So I apologize if some of this stuff isn't as readily legible. But the UI scaling in the Unity editor really wreaks havoc with the visuals of the game. So, and we're going to be doing some visual work today, so I don't want to mess that up. So like, for example, this is the hammer that the artisans or merchants have been using. So it's going to be right-handed. It's going to be in your right hand. I'm going to call it hammer. It uses the hammer model, and it'll be anchored to, who would have thought, your right hand. And so that's all that is. And now when I spawn a Meeple and I look up what they need, well, will just be creating these objects. Well, actually, it's less creating. I grab this, but then I grab the model, and that's what I spawn in, but I use these instructions to know where I'm adding it to. So you'll notice I don't have those anchor points. I just have accessory and accessory body. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up the new anchor points on the Meeple. And the reason I haven't done this yet is that because they're going to be new objects on the Meeple, my existing animations are no longer going to work. And so got to do all this together. So you'll see on the Meeple, I've got this Meeple loadout script. Left, right, body, head. I think those are all the anchors that I'm going to do. It's not really other anchor points. Like, I don't want to treat the body and the shoulders separate as far as I can tell. So let's make some anchors. And actually, this is something, let's play around with it. I am going to try out having hands. But they're going to be like little orb hands. In fact, let's see. So what I'm picturing is I don't think I want arms and legs. But like with the Miis, they got these little like balls for hands. And I think I've seen I don't know where I've seen them, but like the idea that that's just your hands and there's no arms. So what we're gonna do is let's just copy. The head didn't have a mesh collider on it. I wonder if I hate that idea or not. Is there a collider somewhere on this? No, I've turned all the mesh colliders off. What the heck? Why did I do that? Does it have a Does the Meeple not have a collider? Oh, it has a capsule collider around the whole thing. Okay, that's fine. Because I was gonna say that in order for the nav mesh system to work, it needs one. Let's do. Let's name a hand right. This way they're next to each other alphabetically. Okay. And what? Let's see. Kind of odd that the anchor for this isn't in the middle of the sphere. Oh, that's just for probes. This is just for lighting stuff. Let's not look at that. That's just a material. Oh, I guess it's the... Okay. That's just in the editor, whether the things at the center of that. So if I want to move the pivot to the center, do I need a parent object to do that? It's kind of annoying. I guess so. I guess so. Let's see. Let's just put it at 0, 0, 0. And then let's just call that sphere, give it a new parent. and right. And now we just need to position this. And if... I hope this is how it works. Ugh. The rest of the Meeple's in the way. It's hard to tell. I don't think that that's at the center. Is that at 0, 0, 0? I guess that is. No, it's a little low. So what I thought I could do is, because it's hopefully a 1 by 1 by 1 sphere, like a 1 radius sphere. Wait, radius? Diameter? Well, I just thought if I put the position to -1/2 all around, that would do good things for me. But it appears to have not been quite right. Which is weird. Is my Meeple head not a true sphere? Did I squish it? Okay. Rather than copying, let's just create a new sphere. Wait, did it create it exactly where I wanted it in the first place? Wait. What? Why is this sphere's anchor where I want it to be? Because the pivot and the center are the same thing. What did I do to the head? Uh-oh. Are we? But I might be partly rebuilding my Meeple. Yeah, because now that I look at it, why is the head not a sphere? You know what? We have a backup. I did a backup commit right before today's working session in GitHub. So, or in my repo. So I think I'm safe to. I think we need to do a little, fixing of some stuff today. Wait a minute. What material is this? Meeple. Okay. It's there. Yeah, the hands will be the same. Let's tone down this hand, though. And I think for, like, 3D objects you make, like, tweaking this doesn't... This is just a collider, yeah. I think the only way to do it is... Well... No, that tweaks the scale. Okay. So I think the only way to do it is tweak the scale. So we'll do 1/4. Let's bring the body back. It's a little hard to do. No, that's too tiny for hands. We don't want Trumpian hands. That seems kind of big. Oh no, let's make a second hand. And we'll see how we feel about it. Ah, come on. There you go. And then we'll... Wait. Why is its game object? Oh. Well, now everything's really screwy. Oh no. Okay, so this is fine. This is a great anchor. This is not. So let's just get rid of that parent object. Okay, okay. I tried to fix a problem, and all I did is I created a new problem. And so here we go. We're doing it the nicest, cleanest way. We just have sphere objects. The pivot is in the center. And we'll just put them to the side. Put them a little out front. And then, how far down? Which I realize I'm gonna wanna. Where's the anchor for the? Okay, it's at the bottom. That's good. Is it good? So I gotta be careful here, because I think if the right now the way I've got it set up, if I move the because right now I have a transform where I can move everything, but I already have that with the model. Yeah, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have the body. Would I ever move just the body and not the hands? Like, it'd be kind of weird if the hands stayed static, right? I'm like moving in my chair a little bit. Like, I definitely will probably need to do some stuff with head movements, but that's fine. The head is separate. Would I ever? I guess realistically, shoulder. But am I gonna mount anything to the shoulders? This is tough. You know, because I don't want to overcomplicate it, but at the same time, leave myself some room. So we definitely, so hand right, hand left, that's good. We need anchor points for our items. Body, what are we gonna anchor it to? Because whatever I anchor it to needs to be like the thing we're animating, otherwise the items will get left behind. I think we make, yeah. Just for that reason alone, we're gonna have the shoulders and body separate from the head. And arms? Why not? Or hands, I mean. And then we'll move that. So then... And then for the where this is anchored, do I want it? I think I would want it more center of mass. I guess right now the only perk of this is that, like, oh no. The perk of having this, the anchor at the bottom, is it's really easy to jump and pivot. which is a common motion that they're doing. And if I had it centered, then it's going to be more like this, and more up and down and twist. Let's leave it at the bottom for now. As we work on the animations, maybe we'll discover that that's not ideal. How low are your hands? I don't know. Get a little experimental here. So like, if you're just letting your arms dangle, they're like just like below your hip. But like if you're holding something, which is what this is going to be representing, it's usually like you're holding your sword or your pike, your pitchfork. Hopefully my mic is picking this up fine. It picks everything up evidently, so I trust it. I think a little bit less than halfway down. So one's about there, maybe 0.8. Of course, we're looking at them from behind, but that's actually, which way is forward? Forward's the other way. Okay, this is from behind. I actually don't, I kind of wish, when you go 2D mode, I kind of wish I had more, I probably do. I just don't know how. But I wish I had more control of which 2Ds, or which dimension, X, Y, Z, and from point of view I was 2D'ing it from. Let's do 0.9. 0.9 seems good. Let's start with that, and then like wide enough out that it's obvious, and then depth wise we'll need to do the other way. Why did you do this, camera? Why are they way over there? There we go. And then a little bit out in front of you, not a lot. 0.5 feels like a good starter spot. There we go. So that's gonna be the anchor. Perfect. Pretty happy with that. And you know what? If I don't like the hand, I feel okay. So the idea of the hands is it's more obvious that you're holding, that you're like actually holding something, but also be able to do some expressions, some gestures as I gesture off screen, of course. But okay, we got the head, hands, body. Now I don't need these accessories anymore. I had this idea of an accessory stable object where I could add things to the Meeple that wouldn't move in the animations. But that makes way less sense. Like, I don't know why I would do that. So we're gonna remove that too. Great. So let's go ahead, and before we forget, we'll go to our Meeple loadout script on the side here and associate the transforms. There we go. And now, I guess we can run a little test. So let's pop out. So what I've done now is, if we take a look at the code, I'll show you briefly how the Meeples are getting assigned their stuff now. So in the loadout, when I update the Meeple models, I get past this string list of item names, and then for each one, I just go out and say, okay, for that Meeple item object, that scriptable object I showed earlier, you know, find the anchor transform, and then instantiate the actual model into the game, and then I have to update the layer because for the UI Meeples, otherwise they don't show. And then those strings are coming from one of two places. The string list of what their loadout is. One is either going to be a generic model type. So, for example, farmers have two loadouts right now. They're either holding a pitchfork or a hoe. Similarly, like the artisans, they might have hair and hammer. And then versus hammer. There's some bald artisans out there. So it just kind of randomly returns one. The other spot, and this is pretty much the main reason, one of the main reasons I did this is because I wanted to allow you to change who you are. So each named Meeple, one of their characteristics that I store now is Meeple loadout. So they'll come in with a set loadout, but you'll be able to change this in game. So for example, your player character starts off with a cape. Your younger sibling, who's your lordsman, starts off with a cape and a shield. Stuff like that. So, even though we've mucked around with where the transforms are located and whatnot, which means I think the items are going to kind of be offset weird. If I hit play here, I should still spawn in Meeples with those items attached to our new anchor points, and they'll look a little goofy, but do a quick test. They, oddly enough, adding hands. So first impression is adding hands makes them look very stiff as they move around. So we'll definitely, like the walking motion, we'll have to have some movement in the hands. Stuff like that. You know, this guy will need like a kind of a, what's going on with him? Why does he have a sword and a scroll? Wait, who is this? Whoop. Oh, sorry, I'm not in game. Jeez, I forgot. Okay, I forgot I've got some goofy stuff set up. So, kind of previewing something actually. I've updated it so you can have a whole bunch of Meeples in the UI right now. Interesting that they're not running an idle animation. We'll have to fix that too. Also interesting that the hands didn't show up on these guys. Oh man, okay, so I have like 3 things to check on right now. Let's start with where are their hands? So we'll go find them in the scene here. Secret. Ignore the fact that the UI is down here. The hands did not get the layers. Oh, because I need to, that's an override on there. That's fine. It's an override on their model. So, or their prefab variant. So wow. None of that was a complete sense. So, for the base Meeple, I have variants of them for some other spots they show up in. So the UI variant has a different layer set on them, as well as this reworked version, which is poorly named, but the layer overrides did not go through. So we'll just change it to UI and apply to all children. So now that should work. And then if I open up the rework version, yeah, they had default right now, but if I update this, yes to all the children, that'll work. Might as well do the others too. And then matter start can keep default. Great. Let's make sure that worked. Whoops, town's over here. Okay, so Meeples, they exist. Oops, I'm not in game. I keep trying to play the game from the editor. Okay, they got hands. Excellent. You're... I'm not sold on the hands yet. You have to... Okay. Yeah. I'm not sure about the hands. Ooh, also, I bumped a button on the back of my new mic. Well, I don't know what that button does. Hopefully it doesn't drastically ruin things. Looking at OBS, it's still picking up. Well, we'll Google what that button does later. Okay, one thing though, and we will pause and go in the editor here. This is what I was talking about. I'm gonna have to update models now. Because like, for example, the sword model being anchored to this hand. Oh, what should I? Hand is giant compared to the sword. Or is it that the sword's really tiny? Why is this sword so tiny? Oh, because in order to make the parent sphere that size, I had to scale the sphere down. But because the sword's a child of the sphere, now it's also scaled down. Okay. That's not the greatest. Because that means I need to determine... I need to determine if I like the hands before I start, because I'll have to scale up all the models. No, let's not do it that way. Easy fix. Because yeah, I don't want the scaling of the item to be dependent on the Meeple. The Meeple setup, I guess. The transform offset. Which, so what I'm talking about when I'm saying that is like, so let's go grab the sword and put it in his right hand. My little Meeple's right hand here, the sword comes pre-baked with this offset in its prefab setup. So I'm fine with that being dependent on the Meeple. But actually now I don't know if I need to offset it so much, because really what we'll be doing is what we'll actually be doing is we'll be setting, because right now the pivot for the sword is like center mass, but we'll be adjusting this so that the pivot of the sword is actually the handle. And then we put the sword at 0, 0, 0. And now they're holding it. Well, kind of holding it. Because right now the hand scale is 0.5 all around. So the sword needs to be 2. No. That's bonkers. It was already at 0.2, so we just need to double it to 0.4 to be more normal. So that looks better. You know, maybe we rotate the model slightly to... Yeah, you would have it blade front. Maybe... Oh, and I'm not editing the prefab. Point being is I don't think I want the size of it dependent on the Meeple. So, but my thought there was I just need to I just need an empty parent with normal scale. Oh, damn it. At that same position. How did everything get off by a decimal point here? Like, I don't know if you can see, but like, instead of 0.75, it's 0.7499999999. Like, why? What happened? What are you doing to me, Unity? So there we go. And then we just put the sword in there. So now the hand can be scaled separately from the sword. Perfect. But when we come time to animation, like, we can, you know, move it all together. Hi-ya! Step, 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 step. Okay, that was exceedingly dumb. Okay. So I like that. We'll do the same here. Create empty parent. Let's rename some stuff to keep track of things. And then make this new anchor point negative, and then same as the other. Nope, 0.9, 0.5. Perfect. And because we changed those transforms, we just need to make the, whoop, that's the wrong hand. We just need to make those new parent objects to anchors for items. Okay. That should work. So now, let's go ahead and I don't have very many items, so let's just update them. And now this way, if I decide that I don't like the models or the the hands need to be slightly smaller maybe, I can change that without interfering with everything we're about to do. Sometimes we have good ideas. Only sometimes though. Okay. I guess let's take the sword first. So I think what I can do for this is we'll add it there, and then we will adjust it and apply the overrides. So right now we've made it so that the parent of the sword is at 0, 0, 0 with the scaling, and then the actual 3D model is offset to hold correctly. And so apply. And now if I take that and I re-put it there, okay, so we can't do it quite that way. I'll have to open up the sword. Oh, that's because... So this is interesting. You can, when you've got a prefab in a game, in the editor, and you do that, apply overrides, it'll apply overrides to the transform of child objects, but if you've overridden stuff on the parent transform, it won't apply those. And I think that makes sense. More often, you're not gonna wanna be like, oh yeah, keep the transform information of it in scene, because that'll really mess up some stuff. But in this one particular case, it's like, oh, really? You knew what I wanted, but that's the thing is it didn't know what I want. Okay, so now in theory, if we play, our guards with swords should be holding them. Very nice. Oh, I already saw it. Look at that. Oh, I might be on team hands again. These guys look a little goofy, but oh, this is, and once we get like a little walking motion with the hands, oh, it's gonna slap. Which is probably the least cool way anyone's ever said the term slap. So I apologize to Gen Z everywhere. Who am I kidding? Do I have any Gen Z audience? Hey, if you're Gen Z, get in the comments. Also, if you're Gen Z and you're still at 48 minutes into the video, good job. I'm impressed. I'm actually, correction, I'm impressed with anybody that gets this far in the video. I would give you a bonus cat update for making it this far, but they're just doing the same old shit. I mean, I can tell you Juliet's awake, because I can see her head bobbing. Hey, baby. Nothing. I mean, it's not nothing. It's bath time. It's foolish of me to interrupt. Well, make sure I tilt the camera just enough so you can see Jelly Bean on this. Oh, it's always so hard to point in camera. There we go. Jelly Bean alert. Okay, well that went smoothly. Let's crank out the rest. I thought maybe I would only do like 1 or 2 content, but I'm here, so let's see how that goes. And who knows, maybe this will be a section where I'm like, yeah, let's just speed this up. We'll see how it goes. You know, for all I know, I'm gonna have shit to say. No, I don't want the items, I want the models. Let's put the book in the left hand. Partially because I don't have many left-handed objects to start with. Wow, this is horribly off. What happened? So the pivot for this is there, but the pivot for the book is there? Okay. Let's go ahead. Let's just set this to 0, 0, 0. Okay, yeah, I need to remember that. Let's put the parent at 0, 0, 0 and move the model to make sense. Oh, this is gonna be tricky actually. Let's do centering global. Maybe that'll help my brain wrap around because we need to turn the book. I need to move it. Oh no, this was actually way less hard than I thought. And have it so that they're like holding it by the middle, you know. Yeah, you can hold a book like that. From the Meeple point of view, I could read that book. Good amount of realism. And some of this, I figure if I put the items on the Meeples realistically, do I have a hair in front of the camera? No, I don't. Okay. So if I put the items on the Meeples realistically, that will translate to good visuals game-wise. Now, the only exception to that is I might tweak some things if certain camera angles we hit a lot, specifically Meeples being displayed in the matters themselves. Like if it doesn't visually get communicate clearly there, then I might tweak it to be a little less realistic, but so that it's a better visual for us. Great. So we've got a mess of things going on here. So the book is scaled down, but then the book model is scaled up. Yeah, let's just cut that shit out. Oh man, that kind of ruined it. However I built this mesh, I deeply regret it. I should have. I probably built this one before I really put much thought into anchor points. Let's make it so he's holding it a little bit more. There we go. And yeah, let's scale it back up. Nope, not 0.1, 1.4. There we go. And then, because we scaled it up, we can move it a bit. There we go. That'll be sufficient. Great. So now let's go ahead and apply the transfer. See, you can see. Oh, this is interesting. So that comment I made. So on the parent, it will override your changes to scale, but it won't override your changes to position, I think. You see, it's not marked in blue. But for the model, it'll change anything for the child. So we'll just apply all, and then remove it. Actually, no. We'll open the prefab. Do that to the position. Oh man, the book itself is rotated, not the model. Is that gonna bother me? It's gonna bother me. What in the world? Oh my gosh, things are so strange on this one. Let's give him the book again. Ugh. Okay, so the pivot is still on the hand. Good. So for the book model, we need to let's just, okay, Put the rotation back at 0. What is wrong with this book? Rotate it some. Like level it out some. Oh my goodness, this set of rotations is kind of a little nightmarish. Yep. Let this be a lesson. Pay attention to your anchors when you're making 3D models. Okay. We look at our Meeple. Got a nice book. Get the Meeple vision. What a nice book. Okay. Funny thing is, I'm going to be probably remaking this one. Because the book doesn't have a cover. Like, I like the white pages, but I need to, like, tweak this so that the back can be the back of a book. And maybe that'll be color-coded for those house reasons I told you about. So, yeah. I'm just not a fan of a lot of it. But this will do for now. Okay. Excellent. Now these overrides we apply. And now when we add the book. Perfect. Next up is cape. Cape will go on the body. And actually, that's pretty close to where we want it. Okay, so I need to do a little exercise in realism here. What does medieval shoulder cape actually look like? There's an element I'm missing. I don't have like straps that wrap around. Or like this, it's part of like a, is this what a coif is? I think that's the term I'm looking for. Okay. Oh, I clicked, that's a shopping link. But yeah, this idea of a shoulder cape definitely existed. Now, did it exist in the same time period as many of the other items I'm planning on making? Who knows? I don't care. So I think this is actually something I want to have variety in. So I think I'm going to keep this model, but I might make variations of this with different coverage or different, maybe show the straps actually. Excellent. So I don't actually know if I want to change. Because right now the anchor of the cape is actually pretty good. I think, yeah, it's just a matter of making sure it's positioned on the Meeple right. And then, like, yeah, if we, like, have the Meeple look somewhere, that helps. And something that I hadn't considered yet that the hands help with a lot is it's more obvious which way is forward. Because one thing I was noticing was, especially with the cape, having it be like a side cape, it was really easy. Let's turn the hands off for a brief second. It was really easy to think that this was the front. Like it was just a full back cape. When really, this was the front. But if I have hands, well, now this just looks stupid. This is the front. This looks better. Okay. I don't know if I was really waffling still, but if I was, I am squarely on Team Cape right now, like 80 to 90%. No, we're not Team Cape. I'm on Team Hands. I'm on Team Hands. This is looking good. This is looking good. So, is there any reason to have the cape pivot not be at the same as the body pivot? Because right now the Meeple body pivot's down here and the cape's up here. I don't think like the idea of like a cape waving, unfortunately with this setup doesn't work well. Like, because I don't want, as any of the animations are going to be tied to the Meeple right now. That's a good point. Right now, any animation I make has to be kind of independent of what items they're holding, because I'm not... If the item isn't on the Meeple, excuse me, Meeple game object, I can't refer to it in the animations. So something like a fluttering cape, that would have to be an animation on the cape. Oh. Why couldn't my cape have an animator? Never mind. I'm less annoyed with it. The other one I was thinking of is like, for the Meeples with like a pitchfork, giving them like an animation where they're like using the item. I think it might just be more generically waving the item around and having it less realistic, but we'll tackle that in a minute. Okay, I think... Oh, I didn't save the overrides on the cape. Oops. Overall, it looked good though. I think I'm just gonna move it up a little bit. And now, in order to do this, I'm just gonna copy the component values on the transform. Open the prefab and then paste the component values so it's kept that way. And now when I put the cape back on, perfect. Okay, on to hair. Hair goes on head. We haven't done a head yet. So the head's pivot is in a drunkenly dumb spot. Why is it there? That's going to be making it impossible for me to do good animations with the head. So let's remove the hair for a second. We need to fix the head. The head got broke. To the Google. We're going to see, how do I, Unity date pivot. You can create a custom pivot by creating an empty game object that is the parent of your game object. Yeah, I knew that. What I'm wondering is I definitely made this just as a sphere, right? Like let's make a new head. I'm gonna 3D object. That's a cube. 3D object, sphere. I guess it's somehow not a sphere. Like it doesn't have the same mesh. What? How did I use? I didn't use Pro Builder for this. It's too smooth. Look at how smooth that thing is. I don't know what I did. Okay. Whatever. All I know is that this is right. It's even the right size. That's pretty good. So we'll just take the old Meeple material, plop it on there. This is now the new head. Get the old head out of here. I maybe should have taken a little bit more care about where it was, but actually we can just eyeball this. Like that's a no neck situation. That's a lot of neck. That looks pretty good. Because we technically rebuilt it, we're gonna have to put the head back in our anchor references. There we go. Okay, now we can go ahead, go back to our item work, grab our hair and put it on our head. This makes more sense. Oh, that's so perfect. It's just at 0, 0, 0 by default, and it sits so well. We hop into our prefab, do it there. Oh, this is so clean and tidy. Little fun fact, my attempt at this hair was originally supposed to be a helmet. And then I was like, you know what? It just looks like hair. Excellent. Okay. And then for animations, it'll just be like oh, so good. So good. Okay, let's remove the hair. We got that one down. Hammer. I think for the most part, items that they're going to be using, this is stereotypical, but mostly going to be in the right. I might make right and left-handed versions of everything too, though, which is super simple. I don't even need to make a new model. I just would come in here and make a second hammer. And the second hammer would just be left-handed. That easy. And that is one of the reasons why it's going to be important for us to have the hammer be at 0, 0, 0, and then just move the model to make sense. I love that the model for this is named cylinder. Makes a lot of sense. Which way? Yeah, probably point it forward. Whoop, not 990. And then we got kind of a. I want the handle sticking out the bottom a little bit. Yeah, I kind of like that. Makes it look like you're actually gripping it. How are we doing size-wise? Let's set the parent scale properly and have the model scale. Whoop! That's a fat hammer. There we go. That looks better. And then we gotta readjust this. There we go. Are we still centered on the hand? Yes, we are. Good rotation. Perfect. Apply those overrides. Open the prefab. Reset these to default. Pop back in. Hammer. Did I make this model? No, Andrew made this model. Very nice model. A little monochromatic, so it might work with him to make like the head of it a different color and maybe like have a band here where I can make it color coordinated. I don't know. I need to find more spots where the house information shows up. Okay, but the cool thing now is, so I could put a hammer in their right hand. I could put a hammer in their left hand. Guy with 2 hammers, kind of intimidating, not gonna lie. Okay, but this is, oh, things are coming together today. What are we, how long is this becoming? Hour and 10 already? Let's start. I'm gonna set this stuff aside. I think this is good enough for now. Let's tweak the animations now. I can do the rest. I'm just going to make a little note for myself on my notepad on my other screen here that I need to finish. In progress. Finish the item model adjustments to work with the new anchors. Left off at Ho. Okay, excellent. So let's, for the sake of content and a little bit of sanity, let's work on the animations. So our Meeple animations, there's only a couple right now that we're gonna need to change. One is the Meeple hop, which is what the Meeples do when they're moving. And then there's a Meeple idle and a Meeple slow hop. Is the slow hop used right now? Okay, it is. Oh yeah, like when they're ramping into the hub. When they're ramping into, oh no, this is what they use when they're walking through like the fields and they're slowed down, the slow hop. Okay. If you've never used the animator or animations in Unity, I'm about to do a real shit job of explaining them. Basically, you have the animator component, which is this a driver? No, that's not the right word for it. You have an animator controller. That's what it is. So on my, for example, on my Meeple component, I have an animator component with the controller Meeple movement. And so we'll enter as Meeple idle, and then there's transitions here where if we meet certain criteria on our conditions, we'll switch from one animation to the other. So we'll start off in idle, and then if we ever have the Meeple's velocity greater than 1.5, we'll switch to slow hop, and then from slow hop, if we get greater than 5, we'll go to the Meeple hop. And this is a way for us to go straight from idle to full-blown Meeple hop, but I don't think that, I think this checks frequently enough that it just doesn't happen. And then on these transitions, you see you can kind of tweak the overlap of the animations, which is sweet because the animator will handle combining animations a little bit, which is pretty sick. I have not done a ton with that. This is an incredibly simple animator controller, though. If you take a look at like full-blown finished games that use Unity and have more intricate character models, their animations the controllers get real complicated. So then what are these actual animations? That's what this animation editor at the bottom here is for. I don't really need my second project right now. So we're gonna scrunch these up. We're doing animation work. We don't need those. So what this does is it lays out the different transforms or objects and things that you're going to interact with during an animation. And you have points where the values change. So, for example, let's bring up our Meeple. When they're in idle, let's fix the idle one. For idle's nothing. Oh, I'm thinking the UI Meeple has a idle animation where they just kind of bob a little bit. But Meeple hop, you'll see, is actually pretty simple. It starts off vanilla, and then after 0.15 seconds. Wait. That's kind of weird. I'm just now realizing the units are kind of weird because, like, this is not a minute. This is a full second, but, like, I don't know. But at this point, you see, he kind of does that bob, and you set up keys to say, okay, here all your transforms are at 0. When I get to here, I want his Y position to be at 1, and I want the rotation in the Z to be 10. And then you just say, but by 0.3, at 30, this is really bothering me, because this is not, I was like, oh, at 30 seconds, but no, this isn't a minute, this is a second. But this isn't a 30th of a second, because the unit of measure, it wraps from 0.55, or it wraps from 55 to 1 again. I'm getting hung up on the wrong thing right now. Basically, you set up key moments, and then the animator lerps it for you. Super slick. So, while they are moving, we want to add in some kind of hand motion. And then what we're also going to do is just double check that, like, the transforms I'm using make sense with all the changes that I just made. Luckily, I think both Meeple Hop and Meeple Slow Hop use just the model. And we didn't change that because we're moving the whole thing. So we're just going to have to add in items. And actually, for the sake of just a visual aid, let's give them we'll give them a book and a hammer. You know, this is a happening dude, and he's so happening. He's also got a cape and he's got hair. And this is more to make sure that why is the head rotated right now? Nope, it's not rotated. Oh, I just wasn't looking at him dead on. My bad. And so this is just to make sure that, you know, excellent. Everything's kind of holding together. Give us a little bit more of an interesting Meeple to look at. So we will want to add, and if you're working with the animator, you can add properties manually. It'll show you your different options, the different components attached to the game object you're working with right now. Or you can do the recording mode, the little record button here. And now anything you do to the game object, you're not actually going to be updating the game object itself. You're going to be updating the animation. So if I tweak the right hand, and let's say I set the position from 0.9 to 1 instead. Now you can see on the side here, right hand position is a component we're tracking, and I have key values for it at 0, 0, 0. So we're going to put it back to the default. And that's something I actually like to do is, in order to make it loop nice, make sure that I remember to set keys for this at the end as well. So just by changing a number and changing it back, I have keys for the right hand position at the beginning and end. And so let's think. Probably you raise your hand when you lean. Like, I'm trying to think about like running. Even my like mimicking running, I can't quite do it right where I lean away. Like, the direction you lean is the direction you bring the hand up. So we will want to, okay, you're jumping up. That means I'm going to move this hand up and kind of tilt it back, like rotate it a little bit. And actually, not global, I want this to be local. So we'll move it up. And then when we get back here, we gotta make sure it has a key at the default. This is back to like kind of center. And then over here, we'll move it down. So let's do like 0.7 up and down to start. Well, no, 0.7 would be 0.2 more than. So if default is 0.9 y, we're going to move it up and down 0.2. So 1.1. There we go. I take a very mathematical approach to this to make things nice and balanced. Okay. Let's see how that looks. A little bit of a hand motion. That's good. Okay, so other thing is like I said, you kind of move it up and you're like rotating your hands. So we need to do hand rotation as well. So at zeros, let's tweak the rotation to get it to show up. And also, it's kind of nice on the right. You can see in the component, it'll actually shade the values that are part of the animation in red. So you already know that that rotation is included. So I'm just going to go about to the spots where it needs to be default and get keys for it there. Doing it in this order, making sure that your spots where it should be default will save you in the long run. Because if you start messing with it, it's hard to remember what default was. And that's only the right hand. We also want the left hand, so let's tweak that too. So get the left hand position of rotation involved. And also, you don't have to, once you've got one spot down, you can come in here, highlight the keys, and then you can, oh, it's not right click. You just, while they're highlighted, you can copy and then paste them in at spots, which actually, these ones were wrong. There we go. And now you'll notice too, like the hands are still moving with the body motion too. And that is because my hands are children of the model. And that was done very intentionally. Like if I take this and I pop it out, now we'll see, you know, this gets it gets broken off. And also you saw that like it didn't break the animation. The animation didn't like die. But it is complaining that, hey, we're not finding this game object here. So if you wanted to do something weird, or I say weird, if you wanted to do something interesting and have like a one-armed person, just because the animation is expecting hand left, doesn't mean hand left has to be there. You could do some pretty cool. Okay, let's do the same thing for the. First off, yeah, let's do the height stuff for the left hand. So I'm gonna collapse some stuff so I don't get distracted by it. 0.2 was the number we were starting with. So left hand down. Wait. Wait a minute. No, I did it backwards. They are starting off leaning to the left, so it should be right hand down. Oh man, I did it backwards. Left hand. Whoa, that's too much. I did not. That negative sign should not have been there. Left hand up. There we go. And then later when we're leaning right hand up. Gotta remember, I'm looking at them from the front, so things are mirrored. Okay. Let's hit play. That looks better. Okay. And now let's play around with rotation. So while you're walking, you know, or when you're moving your arm up and down, your wrist is rotating back and forth. It's not like somehow, like I'm not carrying a cup of coffee. I wanted to make sure that like I was hand in screen, looking at OBS over there, but so it's a little bit tricky. I guess let's not overthink it. What axis would this be? The x-axis, so tilt it towards me, 10 degrees. And on the down arm, tilt it away from me 10 degrees. And then invert it over here, so towards me 10 degrees. Away from me 10 degrees. And let's see how that looks. That's looking much better. Oh, I like that. Okay, so now turned off record mode. You can still see, if you look in the editor, the numbers that are being updated because of like you're in mid motion of animation. They're highlighted blue, so the editor is doing a lot of stuff for me to make this a little bit easier. Let's play and see how this feels with our actual Meeples, though. Which I just realized all the Meeples are going to have all those items right now. Whoops. Whoopsies. Let's fix that. Yeah, that was only supposed to be temporary. There we go. So now, let's play. And hopefully just witnessing them moving around will look a little more natural with the arm motions, because they look very stiff. Yeah, see, that's subtle, but they look... Well, okay, the farmers aren't holding their items right, but if we, like... Well, okay. Some of the soldiers are holding their items well, but they just look less stiff. That really helped. That helped a lot. Okay, I feel pretty good about that one. I'm not gonna record all of these, I guess, for the sake of keeping a video somewhat sane, but let's adjust one more thing. I don't like that the UI Meeples, they didn't have a good idle animation. So let's go address that. Let's grab a UI guy. And yeah, so this is what I was worried about with the update in the like the framework of the Meeple, how things were organized. The animations are just broken. They're referring to things that no longer exist. So we need to fix that. I'm gonna keep these here for a second, Oh, no. I am not, because the values are also gone. So we'll just have to rebuild it. That's fine. So, I guess the only thing that it's told me is I had it on a 30-second loop. And I think it was just kind of a light bob. But now that we've got hands, maybe we have the hands bob a little bit different. I don't know. I'm like bobbing with my hands too, but you can't see because they're off screen. Also, that is a very dangerous motion to do with your hands if you're on camera. Like, ooh. But, golly, that's going to be a short. So let's remove these things. Our UI Meeple, basically their only difference is they have a dialogue wrapper, which is good. Because during this animation, I don't want the dialogue to be moving to. Why is it backwards? We'll see if that's a problem. So we're actually going to leave that up to make sure that whatever we do doesn't get messed up. But it should be fine, because as long as the wrapper is not, it's a parent of it. The dialogue's parent is the whole game object, and we're only going to be animating the model. Words are tough. So yeah, I think we want to. I think we're gonna want to. Oh, let's start recording. Let's get the head involved. Let's get the model involved. I mean, and let's see. Let's do the 30-second loop again. There we go. And just halfway through, 10, ooh, not 10, 0.1. So right off the bat, I am liking what I'm seeing. Like, they're bobbing, text stays the same. Let's do the same thing as before, though. Let's give them some bonus items. I don't need them to have everything, but like, let's give them a message. I forgot to not do the message yet. Let's do the book. The book's a good one. Interesting enough, book for right hand, though, looks a little goofy because we rotated it. So if I want to put the book in the right hand, I'd actually have to make a second model, which is fine. So what does this look like? And this will be interesting. This will be the angle we see them at most. That's not bad, but like, what if we did something with the hand? Whoops. There we go. And let's make sure we loop well. Copy and paste. What am I thinking? Like a little extra movement up in the hands. Maybe we need to make it a little more dramatic to tell if I like what's going on here. Maybe it's just too fast. Scroll out a little bit on this, and let's just double it. Whoop. I thought there we go. If you grab, there's this top row above everything, and that allows you to grab every key at once. I don't hate that. That's actually kind of nice. Let's do it to the other hand too. Oh, nope, not rotation. We want position. Oh. I'm not quick enough to find the mute button on my new mic, so sorry about that. Whoops, 4 is a little high. That's a little high. Yeah, let's see. I like that. Let's see how that works. So let's remember to remove our book and hide the dialogue wrapper for now. And now let's go ahead and we'll open one of the matters and see how our UI meeples are looking. These guys just move so much nicer. I love it. Okay, in-game. And now, yeah, we'll need the standing guy to have. Actually, why does he have a sword and a scroll? I think it's because they are my steward, and I was testing something. Yeah, I was just testing to see how silly that would look. But also to make sure that it wasn't just giving me a generic steward. Because I do have configured, like, when in doubt, a steward holds a book. But I was like, no, I want this to be like my steward. Glayman. Last name redacted. So, okay, that's fine. Where are the heads? Oh, I rebuilt the heads, so it needs... Okay, I forgot we rebuilt the head, so it needs to have the tag applied again for the UI menus to look right. Oh, that's bad. This is a whole different game. Why are the 2 in back not idle? What the heck? Stage space. Stage locations. I got my meeples, yeah. So, what's going on here? If I got this guy selected, he's allegedly in the idle animation. Oh. Oh, a couple of them I configured to be upset just for testing purposes, but the upset animation is probably broken. Yeah, the upset animation is broken. Cool. Turns out there was a legitimate explanation for everything. So just for continuity's sake, I'm going to fix that, but let's make sure I jot that down as a note. Finish updating UI animations, just animations in general. Fixed Meeple hop and UI idle is all. So that future me post lunch break will remember where I left off. But I need to let's see, matter start Meeple uses the default layer, UI Meeple uses the UI layer, UI assign new uses the UI layer, rework uses the perspective layer. Awesome. There we go. So now we should not have headless Meeples. Oh, silly. The joys of game dev, huh? There we go. Interestingly, like this guy's a little out of sync with these two, which is good. If they're, I'm gonna tweak that because if they're too in sync, it looks like a dance party. Like it kind of looks like that you, the Lord, and these two are in a little bit of a dance party. So I'm gonna, and that's something I'll have to do on the script side. I will. I don't know. Like apply a flag when animations can begin, but purposely get like a random number 0 to 0.25 and start a coroutine, and when that coroutine finishes, finishes waiting, that means 0.25 up to 0.25 seconds, set flag to true, and then let you get into the animator loop. That's one idea. We'll tinker with it. Right now, dance party is good enough. And at this point, I think I'm gonna wrap it up because I've got a little bit of busy work to do, which is fine. I'll do that off camera. But I've kind of proven a point here. It's working, and it was exactly how I said. Did I make anything new that I didn't have before? I kind of did some of this rework stuff. No. My Meeples still have idle animations. They still have hopping animations. They hold on to items. They have hands. That's actually new. But now, because the hands move separate, I can animate them separately. And the items are like anchored to the hands in the center. Like, now they rotate sensibly. I have a lot. I have enough tools to make the animations I want to make and stuff. I'm not going overboard with it. I'm not making bendy torsos and all that jazz. No, I'm not gonna build that stuff out because that's just not needed for this game. So, pretty happy with where we left off. If you made it this far, holy cow, you are a hero. Or you just left me off on in the background, and we'll see what YouTube auto plays next. I hope you enjoyed my company as you did dishes, maybe cleaned up the apartment, maybe did none of that and just ate chips while you were on your phone. You did that too? Great. Whatever. I don't care. I'll talk to y'all later, but thank you, and have a good rest of your day.